Okay. So let's just talk through tomorrow's lesson quick and figure out kind of where we're at and make sure that we're good to go. We are kind of focusing on anticipating student work so that we can monitor that to help us with discussions. So why don't we just roll through and think about what we might expect to see? Because I'm still learning.
Yes,
your
absolutely.
Kids too. Although it'll be fun to see them.
Yeah,
Because I was
think
looking at
they'll
your
enjoy
wall
it
and
too.
like, oh, I have these kids, so it'll be good.
They'll like it too.
Yeah.
So looking at the mental math and fluency, one thing that will be not a completely new exposure, but something that they haven't been used to seeing on a regular basis is division number sentences.
Okay.
So they've been working a lot with multiplication number sentences and multiplication number sentences with a missing factor,
Okay.
which is that relationship with division. But seeing a division problem will
Could be a little stumbling block.
But the good thing is it's asking them to pose a division problem. So a division problem is posed, but they're asking them to find a related multiplication fact, which has been something that they've been practicing through their games and whatnot.
Perfect.
Anticipating math message, then we'll follow that same fluency that will go right into the number model with a symbol. That would be a good pre-assessment part for that. Because everything that they've seen up to this point, the unknown has been used with a question mark.
Okay.
So this will be the new introduction to
Putting
that
a letter in
on
there instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we pre-assess it this day,
That'll
then we
give
can
us some good pre and
data.
post. I like
Yes,
it.
yes.
Okay. Well, I can certainly take that role
Perfect.
as sort of checking that.
that'll be great. And then
so
I
as-
can kind of help them if they have questions about
Perfect.
the actual problem.
Perfect.
Okay.
So as they're going around, I'll just kind of go through and I'll tick off. We'll just kind of monitor who was able to use a symbol other than a question mark, since that's what the math message is asking for, and who wasn't.
Perfect.
Okay.
That'll be great. And then we can follow up on that. I'll
I
be curious
like it.
to know.
That'll roll into day 2, which will be good. That'll give us a good starting point.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright, and then we'll go through the equation examples and the introducing multiplication and division diagrams.
Okay.
Because this will be brand new. They've only done the diagrams with addition and subtraction.
Perfect. Okay. And help me just a little bit with this, because as a former first grade teacher, we did not get into multiplication and division. The main focus of the diagrams
Yes.
is
For them, it's visual for them to make sense of the problem and then have a plan of knowing that multiplication would be the number sentence strategy to use to solve it. Some students anticipating that might do repeated addition or repeated subtraction to get to the answer. The other thing that we've been talking about in the beginning of the unit lessons were multiplication strategies, but then how to come up with efficiency. So there are obviously multiple ways to come to a problem. We discuss them all and we validate them all, but then what's the most efficient way of doing it?
okay.
So that might also come up
In
when
those
they're solving the
discussions.
problems with
Okay.
the multiplication and division diagram. That will be new, but when they actually use a strategy then to solve the problem, it'll be interesting to see if they use repeated addition or repeated subtraction to do that. Which ones do you think of a missing factor versus a division number sentence?
Okay. Gotcha.
Things like that.
Okay. Do you want to? Who would you? If we go through your class list, and because those are the strategies that we would anticipate them using, who do you think? Who do you think would use what? Because that's one of our strategies from our 5 practices
Right,
book.
exactly.
Yeah.
The other day, we also do daily word problems.
Okay.
So one of the things that they get exposure to is doing that. So they get an opportunity to solve different ways, pictures, diagrams, number sentences. Austin, I've noticed, has been doing a lot of repeated addition or repeated subtraction for it, where some others have moved on more to the multiplication and division part of it. So he would be one that might do that.
Okay. I'm just going to mark him.
Yep. And then, let me see here. And Jeremy might also be one that would be relying more on addition and subtraction repeated, or yes, addition and subtraction repeated rather than multiplication and division. I think that he was gone all last week.
Okay,
So he just
well,
might
that
need
will
to be a
certainly
little
make
catch
a
up in
difference.
general.
Okay.
And I think most of them all otherwise have a good grasp on identifying if it's repeated addition, identifying that multiplication would be a more efficient strategy than repeated addition.
Okay, and I do have a question just to clarify, like, grade level expectations, since
Yes.
this will be our first, like, third grade math lesson that we're doing together. The goal here then is to push them to use, like, the multiplication and division methods of solving as opposed to the repeated addition and subtraction.
Yes.
Because they are more efficient.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
just wanted
absolutely.
to clarify.
And I think the idea here too, so they've been doing that with just straight problems. And I think here, the added layer in is the number story. So that's
Okay.
the new part with this lesson too. And thus the diagrams being introduced as a way to help them
Okay.
solve the problem or make a plan to solve the problem.
Okay, perfect. So we are looking for data points throughout the lesson. So let's
Yes.
kind of like track how we're going to be keeping track of student growth and progress through the lesson and see what touch points we'll have as we wrap up to look at and then plan moving forward.
Okay.
So we did talk about like our pre-assessment based on the math message. We'll check to see who could use, or if anybody used a symbol other than a question mark at that point.
Perfect.
And then as we go through, we're going to talk about those multiplication and division diagrams together. Okay, and we had talked about our exit ticket.
Yes. And
Okay.
so we'll split into small groups and do a little small group practice, and then you and I can kind of touch base on what we saw through observation of our small groups with students,
Perfect.
and then do the exit ticket.
When we split those groups,
Yes.
do you have any preference on how we do that?
I think since it's the introduction lesson, let's just do random mix by groups,
Okay.
and probably just as far opposite areas to keep
Okay.
the discussion
Yeah, sort of contained
kind
to
of
our area.
contained. Yes.
Okay.
I think that would be good for today.
Very good. We can certainly do that. Okay, and then we'll be able to use those as our exit tickets after we've done a few practice problems together, and we'll be able to look at what we got from that and how they
Yes.
did, and we'll see what we need to adjust.
Then we'll do day 2.
Going into day 2. I like it.
Perfect. That sounds
Okay.
good.
What do you think biggest stumbling blocks for students might be?
Well, one thing, they haven't done number stories in a while, so
Okay.
we'll refer to the guide to solving number stories and refer to kind of the addition and subtraction number stories and diagrams that we've used in the past. So I guess tapping onto their previous knowledge or experience might be a little, well, it was Unit 2, so we're in Unit 6 now. So it's been a while
Really think
since
back.
they've done
Okay.
that. So when they're referring to different things or doing different things, it'll be interesting to see how quickly that comes back.
Okay.
That might be one thing to kind of anticipate or think about. And then lately we've been doing the strategies. So hopefully I'm hoping that a lot of them will come up with the efficiency and talk about the strategies and kind of move towards that.
Okay, perfect. I think last big question for me, since this is the first time that we'll be co-teaching
Yes.
together, are there any specific ways that I can support you, like in that co-teaching on this first day, since you'll kind of be leading like the meat of that lesson?
I think since the students know you and are comfortable with you,
Yeah,
you know,
that's-
they might have their hand up and feel
Yep.
free to jump in and
Okay.
answer questions, and they'll want.
We'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll probably keep their hand up and say, "No, I want Mrs. Johnson." No, just kidding.
No.
But so feel free to jump in.
Okay.
I think that's the biggest thing. Is
Okay, and we'll kind of find our groove
Yeah,
as we go,
absolutely.
so it'll be good. Okay, well, I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too.
I think it'll be good. It'll be fun to see these kids again, too.
It will.
Okay, perfect.